Hey guys, it's Cheyenne and Noelle here with Paradigm Innovation. I guess we have to rotate it this way. So I'm sitting here with design strategist, executive design strategist, Sunny and we're going to be talking about how design strategy has changed the business landscape. So Sunny, you are our awesome director here at Paradigm Innovation.
Thank you.
So we have tons of conversations every day with people about the importance of design and what design is doing for business today. Do you want to talk a little bit more about how that's changing business right now and why design is so relevant in today's changing industry?
I think what we're experiencing right now is something totally unique, something that is relatively unprecedented. And what's happening is businesses are starting to realize that in order to even compete in the industry at all, right? You look at Apple, you look at Google, people are demanding more and more out of the technologies, the experiences, the services that they are getting from each of these companies. And it's because those systems are becoming more complex, it's becoming increasingly important that you have an intelligent process for conceiving those ideas, that you're able to test and validate and communicate and prototype as many different concepts and as many different methodologies as you can before you actually invest in developing them.
Gotcha. I know in our last video with Tyler Hayes, he's a UX designer, we were talking about what design strategy is. Would you go ahead and agree that this complex, well thought out way of thinking is really I guess the nucleus of design strategy in terms of business, being able to apply that way of thinking to reaching business goals?
At the heart of design strategy is business. A lot of people hear design and they hear strategy and they think it's designers doing crazy creative design things.
Right.
And it's true, we are doing design things, but this is basically the intelligent process, curation, research, analysis, and synthesis process of how your company will execute on the artifacts and assets that it creates, right?
Gotcha.
So there's a whole system around the things that design strategy covers, from organizational design, process design, architectural design, environmental design, brand, service, product, your digital experiences. But design strategy pulls all of those things together and makes it particularly relevant to the CEO, the executive strategy, right? The corporate strategy, and ties them all together.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So as the world is changing and things do get a little bit more complex, I know we've talked about how design strategy is going to play an increasingly important role in these businesses. What do you think right now is the biggest disconnect between people who don't really know what design strategy is and what it actually is?
Yeah, I think the biggest disconnect that we're experiencing is a lot of connotations from traditional business functions.
Like business models and stuff?
Yeah, well, a lot of times when we're talking to a new client, especially early on, now we've gotten to a stage where we have a lot of the ethos, right? And we can show the numbers that show them the results on their investments. But when we were really young and really starting out, one of the biggest pushbacks that we received was, how is this going to help my company, right? How is this going to help?
Right. How can designers help me fix
essentially
business problems? Because
there was a point in time where designers were primarily concerned with people tend to look at designers as doing the styling and then aesthetic, and that is a big important component of your user and customer experience. But what we're seeing is our methodologies are able to mitigate a lot of risk, and we're able to maximize a lot of potential throughout that conception process, by allowing them to do that testing and communicating. And that's kind of what's made us increasingly relevant. But early on, we experienced a lot of pushback just because they saw us as what they knew design to be. Even when we were growing up, we didn't really know what design was. And you tell me this all the time, until you met us and our team and saw the things that we do and the results we deliver, you didn't even really know that this is what designers did, right?
I'm not a designer. I didn't go through design school, and you did, and I'm just blown away by how design actually permeates everything.
So I'm blown away by how quickly you have picked up our processes and been able to implement them yourself in your information architectures and your content strategy. But we're seeing this being picked up all over the world. The Harvard Business Review writes about it, right? Google writes about it in Google Ventures. No longer is this design this ambiguous thing that isn't present at the boardroom table, right? Now because people are starting to see those results, and we have designers like ourselves and many others and other design companies that are putting their voice out there and telling people that this is important, right? And then people are starting to see products that fail and succeed, and what was the biggest variable that created that, and they're starting to see that really it was the fact that there was a designer working at the executive level, right? And a whole design team with individual skill sets all built out, all strategized, and all curated to execute on the biggest business need, and doing it in an intelligent way.
Woohoo! Cool, Sunny. Well, thanks so much for your time, and thanks, guys, for tuning in to The Catalyst. We will stay tuned for the next episode. I'm not quite sure who we're going to pick, but that's kind of part of the fun. It's going to be a surprise. Thanks, guys.